Welcome to episode 45 of the Hoop Threads podcast. Here today with a member of our junior college coaching range, Coach Butch West Jr. How's it going?
I'm all right, man. How about yourself? Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you come highly recommended. Ron Bailey and Cardell of the Finest magazine both had very, very good things to say about you and said that I definitely needed to get you on. So let's talk. Tell me about how you fell in love with the game.
Uh, you know, I often tell this story. Often, I guess that's the best word to use. I think when a lot of people were having hoop dreams or NFL or baseball dreams, and they're 13, 12, 13, 14-year-old minds, I knew then I wanted to coach.
Mm,
Um, Coaching was, it seemed like everybody loved the ball players. Everybody respected the coach. And so, that jumped out to me, and that was just something that I was enamored with. And so, a lot of my coaches in high school, I just watched them, um, just to see, mannerisms, styles, things that I would do, things I wouldn't do. I was that student athlete that was on the bench saying, "Man, I would have did it this way,"
mm.
and knew eventually that when I was going to get my chance because this is what I wanted to do. So I've been wanting to coach since I was probably in the eighth or ninth grade, man.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Talk about your playing career and how that kind of informs, what you do as a coach.
My playing career was, I'll probably be one of the most honest people to say it was very, very, very mediocre. I was good enough. I was good enough to make teams, but I wasn't never a guy that was just going to be the man. Like I wasn't the guy on the scouting report. You
Right.
know what I mean? In either sport. And I think the honesty that I have with myself with that allows me to be a good coach because I can always tell a kid, like, listen, I'm not the coach that's gonna tell a kid, I was better than you. No, I was not. I probably wasn't even close. However, I can help you. So, being able to be honest with myself and truthful with myself is, and with my own playing career, has helped me a lot as a coach.
Okay. Gotcha. Talk about, how your coaching career got started. I know you kind of started in the high school ranks and then you made some moves to get up to the junior college level. Talk about that experience and that journey.
My first coaching job, my first coaching position, I was actually in the Navy. Um, in the military, you have base teams, and you also have semi-pro teams. And you have with the semi-pro teams, they are like the best guys on the base. That's deprived. That's mostly grouped up. Whether it's the Army, the Navy, the Marines, Air Force, everybody else on the base that's really, really good. They'll group them up, and they'll make with we would call here a semi-pro team. And those guys, they go out and play different bases. They go out and play. I was in Japan, so they will play the Japanese national team. We played the Harlem Globetrotters. Um, Kobe Bryant's dad had a team over there of pros,
Mm.
and that's kind of where I got my start at. I was coaching against Kobe's dad, and he was like,
Wow.
"Man, I think you should uh, keep this up." He asked me how old I was, and I was maybe 20, 21 at the time. He was like, "Man, you have poise. You like these guys are much older than you, and they respect what you're saying. Like, keep this going." And I said to myself then, like, "All right, I'm getting out the military. Kobe's dad stamped me. I'm getting out. I'm going to coach in the NBA tomorrow." But no, it did. It didn't work that way. I ended up getting my degree while I was in the Navy, and I kind of sort of didn't see me doing 20, 30 years in the military, so it was best to get out at the time I did. And my daughter was coming,
Mm.
so it just was that rushed the process even more, and
Yeah.
it allowed me to get out. And I started coaching AAU, mom and pop AAU organization that was ran by my uncle. Pretty competitive organization, actually. This was 2007, 2008ish. So it was before we had 100 AAU teams at every corner here.
Yeah.
So we had some actually talented guys. We had private school guys. We had public school guys. We were winning tournaments, and that propelled me to get the girls basketball job at McKinley Tech High School.
Hmm.
Spent 2 years at McKinley. It was great. I I guess that's what people say. I paid my dues at, because I took some ass whoopings, but I also handed some out,
Yeah.
and it also made me become a better coach. They had a athletic director change. New athletic director came in, wanted to bring in his own people, which makes sense. I understand. I was starting to understand that this was a business at that same point. Also,
Mm.
left McKinley with the Laurel for 4 years, and that's when I learned how to be what I say a basketball coach, because I was an assistant there under Coach Ox. However, Ox is the AD, so he entrusted a lot of things in me, basketball coaching wise, and it allowed me to learn the actual ins and outs of what I would want to do if I had my own program.
Mm. Mm. Okay. And just to clarify, the Laurel spot, is that high school or is you're talking about
That's high
community?
school.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
high school.
Gotcha.
Lower high school. Was there for 4 years and left Laurel to start my own program at a DC charter school, high
Okay.
school.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yep.
Talk about, starting that program at the charter school and kind of what some of your first steps were, as far as, establishing relationships, bringing in guys, both coaches and players, and, what that process looks like, and, if you would do anything differently nowadays.
I got told about the job from a Dematha guy. You should probably know Gerard Musaf,
Yes,
Jaden's
sir.
dad.
The best.
Gerard, I had known Gerard since I came home from the military. We were working together. Doing. He was, helping me. I was helping him with his camps. He was, in his mentoring group and things of that nature. And he had known my journey, and he said, "Hey, this job is open right here. I want you to apply for it. I think you'll be a good fit." So I ended up applying for it. Ended up actually getting it, which was cool. Another thing about that's knowing this business. Like sometimes somebody saying apply for it means, hey, you're probably going to get it if you apply for it because of who I am.
Yeah.
Uh, I this is their first year playing varsity basketball. They were normally a JV basketball program, and the high school was just really getting off the start. I think the school had only been open like 3, maybe 4 years.
Okay.
I don't even think they had their first graduating class yet.
Mm.
And I think people say that all jobs are good jobs. Really didn't have this job in mind when they were talking about. And I don't think it was because of the kids. I don't think it was because of the school. I think that the admin was not ready to have a basketball program. They just wanted a team,
Mm.
whereas I wanted a program. I wanted to develop it into a program. I wanted to travel and play teams that sometimes I probably had no business playing, to just get those guys exposure, get those guys understanding and importance of those kind of things.
Yep.
Anything I would have done, well, no, differently. I didn't do it. Coaching staff wise was simple. I always tell anybody what's one of my secrets of coaching: hire people to assist you that are better basketball players than you. Because I'm really good. I'm really, really, really good at X's and O's. I'm really good at scouting. I'm really good at recruiting, but I'm not good at skill development. So I can't teach the student athletes the moves that they need to do. I can tell them what I think they should do in that situation, but I myself can't teach them that move. So I put people around me who can, and
Gotcha.
that's what I did. I hired two assistants. One guy played at the Division 1 level, one guy played at the Division 2 level, and I said, hey, you're the head JV coach. You're going to assist me on varsity, but you're both are going to do skill development.
Yeah.
And that was a great move for me. That's something I carried down even with me at PG.
Mm.
Hired guys that played college basketball, that can do the things that I am not myself capable of doing.
Gotcha.
And that situation only lasted a year. They that summer after the season, probably 2 weeks before school started. I remember it like it was yesterday because it pissed me off really bad. We had played summer league and everything. So 2 weeks before school started, they say, "Hey, we're going to de-emphasize sports." What? And I mean, that just showed the business side that this school didn't understand because I had other job opportunities. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, this is a good situation for me. You know, we had went. I think we lost like 3 games that year, and so I was contacted by schools in PG County. I was contacted by other DCIAA schools. They were like, hey, come on over here, and I'm like, nope, I'm building something here. And 2 weeks before the school year started, they was like, yeah, we're going to de-emphasize sports,
Mm.
and we're not gonna field a varsity basketball program this year.
Jeez.
And that just tore me up, man.
Yeah.
So that was that. So I took that year, that whole season off, and just went around the different games. Became a fan of the game again.
Mm.
I had just got married, so it kind of worked itself out. And then PG called. Brian Johnson got the job at PG. We met. We reached out. His vision and my vision matched up. He knew I wanted to be a head coach,
Mm.
and he said, "I'll get you there," and he did.
Mm. Mm. Talk about. I want to hear about your evaluation process. We'll get into grades and figuring out level and
Mhm.
stuff like that later. But talk about the traits that you're looking for. Honestly, mention too. There are a good amount of parents that listen to the podcast. A lot of high school coaches talk about some elimination things where you either see this from him or you hear it about him. Whether it's selfishness or not listening to coaching or bad attitude or the parents a nightmare, which is definitely
Mhm.
a more
I mean, you. I think you've heard this spiel before, so you could probably do your own segment on that part. I
yeah.
think my evaluation process is simple. First thing I tell anybody, don't tell me a kid can play at my level
Mm.
because I don't think most coaches know how competitive junior college is. So
Mm.
I don't want a kid that can quote unquote play at my level. I want a kid that can play at the NCAA Division 1 or Division 2 level
Mm.
because that's where I'm trying to get him to.
Yeah.
So him playing at my level does nothing for me.
Yeah.
It does nothing for me for the short term or the long term. I want the kid that I think I look at this kid and say, okay, he could play NCAA Division 1, Division 2, Division 3 basketball.
Mm.
He might just not be an NCAA student right now. So give me a guy who I can mold into being a good student that's already a hell of a basketball player. I don't want to do it the other way around.
Mm.
I think that what I have identified at Prince George's Community College is that we we don't want individuals who don't want to be there. I
Yeah.
think I tell people so many times, like a coach will say, "Man, hey, I think you should reach out to such and such, and he'll be a good fit for your program, not your level, but your program." Like, does he know that?
Mm.
Have you told him that PG is going to be reaching out? Because I
Yeah.
think coaches don't understand that so many of these guys want to get away. They don't want to be home anymore and X, Y, and Z. And I understand that. I respect that. And I'm not going to, keep guys. I'm not going to keep guys here who don't want to be here.
Mm.
Because that creates a whole nother situation. So my evaluations are mainly centered around getting guys that I know can play at the NCAA level
Mm.
and turning them into good students, as well as allowing them to get recruited.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Let's talk real quick. We'll come back to philosophy and stuff in a second. I just don't want to forget to ask this question. Did you watch Last Chance U? The basketball
Yes,
version?
I watched every version of it.
So I want to know, is that a Hollywood version of what JUCO is like, or was there a lot in that show where you're like, yeah, this is the same stuff I go through, is this is the same stuff that I do, the same
No,
responsibility?
that's that's JUCO basketball. I mean, some stuff was made for TV.
Yeah,
However, we have dealt with situations probably 5 to 10 times worse
yeah.
with just no cameras around.
Mm,
I think JUCO basketball is a grind, man.
mm,
It's everybody wants to get out.
yep.
Coaches come to JUCO want to get out, players come to JUCO want to get out. Only so the things that happen there, and then you get guys at the JUCO level that honestly others don't want. So
Mm,
you have to deal with those kind of situations and stories and their background. And you're not just a coach at the JUCO level. You're a coach, you're a father, you're a mentor, you're a therapist, you're you wear so many hats. You're a social worker. You become a father to a kid to a baby that's your kid that your player has had that you didn't participate in, but you know that he can't sometimes afford to do everything to take care of that kid, and so you got to put him in situations. You got to put him in situations as well.
mm. Gotcha, gotcha. You touched on it a little bit earlier as far as just wanting a kid that's D1, D2 level so that you can get him there. What's your recruiting strategy? Is it kind of searching for that D1, D2 NAIA, or is it, you're just looking for the best possible player?
I'm looking for the best possible player.
Yeah.
I think that talent, you can spot talent. Talent is not one of those things that, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what that was. Talent is not one of those things that you can't see
Yeah.
if you're not good, unless you're not good at it. Like
Yeah.
I can tell, I don't have to watch an 8 to 10 minute highlight tape. I can tell within the first 2 or 3 minutes, okay, this kid can play.
Yeah.
So don't put your free throws on high school on highlight tapes, student athletes. I don't want to see those. I want to know, can you score? Can you defend? Can you rebound? Can you block shots? Whatever your position is, can you execute that at a decent rate? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for in the highlight tape. And I go to games.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people in my business get tired of watching that. Nope, I go to games. I go to high school games, and I enjoy them while I'm there. Sometimes I even take my wife with me.
Mm,
But I go to games. I want to see you live. I want to see when you're subbed out, so you dap everybody hand up on the bench. I want to see when you're when you pick up two quick ones and you got to sit, how energetic you're going to be on the sideline,
mm,
clapping for your teammates during your time that you're sitting. All those things are the things that I want to see. So
mm.
the basketball stuff is just not it. I know the JUCO grind, so I gotta say, man, can this kid mentally play junior college basketball?
Yeah.
Because it is hard. We're not traveling on private jets. Sometimes we're driving the school bus to the game, and it's cramped and things of that nature. Can you adapt to those type of situations?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Talk about the connections you've made, either with, high school coaches in the area, or, event coordinators, or, just frankly, like talent evaluators, and scouts that work for places like Prep Hoops and stuff like that. Um, Talk about what you've learned about that process, as far as, I mean, I'm going to sound really disingenuous saying this, but the relationships that you need to prioritize within the community, as far as building a successful program. Talk about what you've learned about, who to trust, not to trust, who to reach out to, and what relationships, like I said, you need to prioritize.
I think this is gonna come off sounding real arrogant, but I think who I am as a man supersedes that. I feel as though I've made it where I am in this business by not kissing ass. and being myself. So I say that to say that I just come off as a genuine dude. I'm going to be cool with you if you're going to be cool with me, but I'm not going to chase grown men for their friendship in order to get access to kids.
Gotcha.
Now, and that's probably why I'm not at the NCAA level because of that same stance. However, I just think my morals and my how I just was raised is not conducive for me to just call everybody bro and befriend a bunch of men just because they have access to kids. I want genuine relationships. Ron Belly a cool dude. Cardell's a cool dude. And I don't benefit from neither one of those relationships. However, both of them told you, said good things about me.
Yep.
But I benefit from neither relationship.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that's just how I think I'm going to make it in this. When I do make it in this business, I don't want anybody to say he's only here because of X. He's only here because of such and such. I want to say I want it to be merit based. So Kobe at Prep Hoops, good, solid dude. I can text him. But I'm not saying, hey man, let me text Kobe extra today because I see he's cool with this kid from Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's just not how I am.
Yeah.
So, Keith Stevens who runs Takeover, real good dude. Has got his real number in my phone. I can reach out to him. He responds to me, but I can't take. So,
You broke up a little bit there. Come again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, my bad. Brad to DC, man. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Keith's a good guy, but it's no need for me to bro him. Can be myself and I can actually be cool with him. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the guy with Ricky Goins. He used to do the 30 by 30 league.
Yeah.
Probably be a good person to have on your podcast.
Yeah.
But one thing he said to me that really, I won't say it stood out, but it summed this business up. So many of these relationships in this business are transactional. And they're transactional because we both can do stuff for each other. So it's only cool for us to be cool because we both can get something out of it. I don't want relationships like that. I just want genuine relationships. We don't have to be friends. I don't have to call you bro. But when I see you out, we could be cordial. We could be cool. But I just don't want to be that guy that you see me. Everybody on Twitter is my bro. Every time you see me, I'm with somebody different just because I'm chasing kids. Absolutely not.
Gotcha.
So that's how I cultivate my relationships by just being myself. And if who I am is not good enough for you, it's just not worth it for me because I just wasn't raised the way I see other people in this area behave for kids.
Yeah, and Ricky Goins is pretty close with Coach Jones, so I feel like I see him come across my timeline quite a bit.
Yep.
Never met him in person though. Quick side note: I don't know if you've seen,
a good person to have.
I don't know if you've seen both of these dudes play, but I've had several arguments with Colby on this, and I feel like you probably know where each of us land on it. Tyrell Ward or Cam Whitmore?
Me and Kobe was just arguing about 2023s the other day, but I'll leave those names out of it. But I'm a Tyrell Ward fan, man.
Okay.
I'm a Tyrell Ward fan.
Who are the 2023s? I gotta ask.
Jacoy Hutchinson and the kid from St. Francis. I can't think of his name for some reason.
Lamar?
Yep, that's it. And we would talk about Amari Hansberry, but I just think Jacoy Hutchinson is that deal. So,
listen, man, you know the math to do. You know where I land on these, so I feel like I don't even need.
But you know what's crazy? I don't have no relationship with Mike Jones,
Yeah.
or Pete Strickland that did down. So
Yeah.
I don't have to say that just to be cool with somebody. I can honestly give my honest assessment on who I think, who I like, who I like, is
Yeah.
better based on what I like in basketball.
Listen, man.
I think that's where guys can't do that because of allegiances that they have, and it's silly, man. It's silly.
I feel like Jacoy, is a very safe bet. People don't understand how hard that kid works, and how motivated of a young basketball player he is. And man, he's so easy to cheer for because he's the best hype man on the bench. No one gets more excited about an assist to another teammate than Jacoy, and it doesn't have to be. There's some games where he had 2 points and 7 assists, and he's still getting hype about these assists, and he's not even worrying about, oh, I'm only averaging da 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 da. As long as his team's winning, and as long as he's making other guys better. I just gotta
That's
I gotta plug my man real quick. So,
that's
um,
when that's winning basketball, there, champ.
yes sir, yes sir. Comes from a great family too. So Ron Bailey specifically told me to ask you about this. He said you need to talk to him about how he markets his program because he really likes how you go about doing that. So let's talk about
Nope, I sell PG like it's Duke. I
that.
mean, it's just how I am because the thing about that situation is if you want the the, the city, the town, and players to respect your program, you got to respect your program.
Yep.
I don't have any dorms, I don't have any scholarships or anything of that nature. But I'm going to sell PG like it's Duke. I'm
Yep.
going to make you feel like you're coming to the best junior college program in the country,
Mm.
not just in the area, in the country. I mean, it's junior college programs that have beautiful campuses and swimming pools and all that cool stuff. And
Yeah.
all we got is a gym, some nice classrooms, but you got a hell of a coach that's going to sell you and the program. I sell my kids the same way. I'm
Mm.
going to sell my guy that's averaging 5 the same way I'm going to sell my guy that's averaging 25.
Mm.
It's who when I say you're with me or when I'm representing you as PG, I represent PG like a brand.
Mm.
So I gotta when I got a PG gear on, I'm careful. I'm careful with what I'm doing. I'm careful with how I'm walking. I'm careful with how I'm talking. If I'm out in the public with a PG shirt on, you're not gonna hear me using too much four-letter language. You're not gonna see me at the bar with PG gear on because that's not the look I want for my brand.
Yep.
And I hope when I leave PG, I leave it better than I got it.
Mm.
You're giving them. I want the next person to treat it the same way. Treat PG like it's a brand, like it's. Can
So you broke up for a second there.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I tell them you're 10, 15 minutes late for practice. Would you have been late if you was playing for Coach K?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So treat this the same exact way.
Mm. Mm. I remember a spot on that the last chance you too, where God, I forget his name, Deshaun, I think. Yeah, Deshaun. Someone was coach was trying to get through to someone on something, and he's like, "Man, would you talk to Coach K like that?" Nah. Well, then be quiet. Like sit down and actually listen to what this man's got to say.
I've,
'Cause-
I've,
'cause
I've been saying that for years, man. I've been saying that to kids since 2007, 2008. I've been using Coach K. Like, man, you wouldn't be late to Coach K practice because everybody want to go to Duke. Everybody want to go to Kentucky. Well, behave that way. Behave that way here.
Word, word. So let's talk about traditions and standards, at your program. I can give an example at the math. If you if you miss a layup, it's 10 push-ups. And that doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
if it's in a drill, if it's in a game, if it's in a scrimmage. I mean, shoot, coach has a good memory, man. As soon as he blows the whistle, Dad, for something else, and he's talking to someone about something, if someone missed a layup, he'll turn to them and be like, "Yo, where my push-ups at, man?" he does not forget. So, talk about kind of some of the standards you have or some of the traditions that you have at PGCC.
I think our best tradition that we've built over the past couple of years is our morning. Our morning is the culmination of the end of our summer workouts. Of our fall workouts heading into the season.
Okay.
So the fall workouts, that's really when you're getting your team is together now, and it's time to just take them out. Basically, like just get them. It's basketball time now. We're right before real practices start, and our morning is a culmination of that. Probably the week leading up to our morning is like hell week in the military.
Yep.
When you're about to graduate, and it's blood and guts. It's you're doing hills, you're doing 100 sprints, you're doing 200 suicides, you're doing 16 over and over and over again. You're doing 3 miles on the track. You're getting beat every single day. You're getting mentally browbeat. And then our morning, we have the guys come up 5 o'clock in the morning for a practice. And in that practice, it's nothing but team building. We're splitting the guys down the middle. We're doing relay races. We're doing mind teasers, but they're competing. They're competing, and it all brings them back to the end to just break them down, build them back up, and say, okay, now we're a team. So now it's time to do things as a team. And from there, our next practice is at midnight, and that's the day we start practice. So whenever the first day of practice is, we'll practice at midnight of the first day of practice. That's another tradition. And let's just say, okay, we want to be the first team in our league practicing. No, everybody else sleep.
Yep.
We're up at midnight. We're practicing. So those are the two traditions that I, really love. Our morning was actually started by Brian Johnson, who I replaced, and I've kept it going. But the midnight practices was something I started when I got there as the head coach, and it's just something that I say, okay, if the season has started, it's on now.
I like that. I mean, the kids are up then anyway, so it's not like it's a big stretch.
Yeah, they plan 2K anyway.
All right. My friend had a quote, that I really liked. He said, "The only day that D1 is better than D2 is signing day." Talk about how society overrates level and conference and what players should be looking for in a program.
Fit. I think players should be looking for fit. The transfer portal is the way it is for two reasons. Number one, players chasing names and not fit. Go where you think you're going to be on the floor in a year or two. It's very simple. You can go. If you see this school has offered 4 other players at your position, and don't be arrogant enough to think that I'm better than him. I mean, you watched the kid play. You probably played against him. He kicked your ass when y'all played against each other. You're not going to play in front of him. And then you still go there and you expect different circumstances. No, that's what happened. And the second reason is, sometimes players coaches think they're getting a certain player and they're not. So that they pushed him out. That's the part of the transfer portal that don't get told. Kids get pushed out as well. It's a lot of kids that leave. There's a lot of kids that's also pushed out because the next kid is coming in is better.
Yes.
So I say that to say, guys got to go where they think they know you can play. If you only got one D1 offer, but you got 12 D2 offers, you're probably a Division II basketball player. And that one D1 offer is from a school that probably will get beat by D2 schools. So go to that D2 school, have a great career, and everybody's not going to the league.
Yeah.
And if you're good enough in 2021, if you're good enough, it was a guy from JUCO that was drafted last year.
Who was that?
So if you're, I think he was drafted by the Clippers. I want to say. I knew his name up until you asked me what's his name.
Was it Terrence Mann?
No. Terrence Mann went to Florida State.
Okay.
I knew his name up until I'm going to Google it while we're talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll find it right now. Oh, Jay Scrubb. That's who it was.
That's it, Jay Scrubb.
Yeah.
And I watched him the year prior in Vegas, and I said, this kid can play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could just tell that he can play.
Yeah.
But that's just, if you're good enough, they're going to find you.
Yep. I really, the last kind of thought that I have on that is, the same friend was talking about, low major transfer to a high major, or D2 transferring up to D1. He was like, if you can leave with your name on the wall, do it, because odds are wherever you're transferring to, what are you going to get? 15 minutes a game? Like, I understand, the gear is cool. I'm sure you're getting more girls that play on the Kentucky team versus, a D2 team out here. But, if you can leave a legacy, you can leave with your name on the wall. Like that's what you need to do. So,
and take this from somebody who sat on the bench a lot in high school. Go where you're going to play. I could have transferred and went somewhere where I was going to play, but I sat there. I stayed there because it worked. But don't leave. Now, don't be a 20-minute per game guy here to go transfer up to be a 12-minute per game guy. Yep. That makes zero sense.
Because especially if you're trying to play pro, you need that tape, and if you're not getting the burn, you're not going to have that opportunity. So,
absolutely.
Another friend. So this was actually the Florida State associate head coach Stan Jones. I did a pod with him. I'm gonna plug that real quick because it was a great podcast. He said he had two quotes. He said, "Recruit attitude, develop skill." He said, "We're not looking for kids that are buying with their eyes. We're looking for kids that want to do something special, want to be coached, want to be developed, want to be a part of something that's unique and different." Talk about how important buying into the culture before recruits even arrive on your campus, and how the program's intentionally different, and the emphasis is that you play on both sides of the floor.
And I think that's where it comes into what I've said about me selling PG like it's due.
Yep.
I gotta respect my program. So if I don't respect my program, who else will? I can't have you come in here if I don't care about the program.
Yep. Gotcha. Talk about an undertaught skill or fundamental at the youth level that you really wish you didn't have to deal with as much as you do.
Passing.
Interesting.
I think so many of these guys just feel as though they don't have to pass the basketball.
So it's more so a willingness to pass as opposed to the action.
Yeah, but when you're able to get away with it, at so many different levels, it works.
Feel that. Yep. Your team will be successful this year if.
Oh wow! If
you can't say if we have a season.
No. We don't have a season. If my bench guys turn into good players, I think you're only as good as your bench. Your starters are going to do their thing.
Yep.
That's what it starts.
Yep.
But who's going to be that guy that can give you a consistent 12 off the bench?
Got you. I like that. All right, let's go to some quick hitters here.
Sure.
Best player you've ever played with or against, or you've seen play that never made it to the league?
And I'll do one football, one basketball.
Okay.
All right. Football, Lawrence Wade played with me in high school. Played football with me in high school. I thought I was watching O.J. Simpson. It's like every time he touched the ball, it was either a first down or a touchdown. There was really nowhere between.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Temple. They changed his position, and that's how that happens. Basketball wise, I would say, Dante Smith went to Anacostia, was the BC All-Met Player of the Year, and I just don't think it was. I don't think I ever seen him miss a shot. He ended up going to Cal. Had a decent career at Cal, but he was crazy here.
Okay. Historical coach you wish you could have played for?
Mike Jones. And that's not just because that's your guy.
Yeah.
I just think you can give me Mike Jones as a head coach, and I just think I think we have the same demeanor.
Yeah.
And so I just think it would work itself out. And I'm a huge Steve Turner fan also. I think you guys in the WCAC probably had two of the best coaches in the country.
Absolutely.
And, but I just think Mike's demeanor looked like his players loved him and my players loved me.
Yeah.
So it just seems like that would have worked.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Also, another shameless plug. I just had Coach Turner on the podcast. That was a phenomenal.
Yeah, man, I just texted him the other day and told him happy birthday, man. I want to sit down and do lunch with him very soon.
A good dude.
I just want to pluck his brain basketball with.
There you go. Well, that leads me perfectly into my next question. So, invite 3 basketball minds to a dinner to chop it up with. They can be dead or alive.
Oh, I want to talk basketball with Kobe. I met him before, but we didn't get the chance to talk basketball. The setting that we were in, I won't say on podcast, but the setting that we were in, it just was we here to kick it, and I don't want to talk basketball setting, so let's just enjoy the moment. I would love to sit down and just his approach to the game is just through this world.
Yep.
Who else? There's not too many people I haven't met but talk basketball with. I guess I would say Coach K. I met him, but I haven't got a chance to talk basketball with him. I used to go to the Duke NC State games all the time when Coach Lowe was at NC State. Him and my uncle are best friends.
Okay.
So I used to get a chance to go to all the Duke and NC State games.
Nice.
My uncle graduated from DeMath also.
Okay. Cool.
So I got a chance to meet Coach K several times, but talking basketball with him was something I would love to do. Yep. Help me learn approach to the game, scouting, things of that nature. I would love to talk to him about that.
Gotcha. And the last one. Popular answers have been Bill Russell and Kareem so far.
Bill Russell and Kareem. But see, I wouldn't want to talk to them about basketball stuff.
Yeah, interesting.
I would want to talk to them about playing during, the civil rights era. So those are kind of I'm a history buff.
Yeah.
I actually have a degree in African American history. So I would want to talk to them about that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Basketball, what was it like playing basketball? Get some of those stories. So they would be on my list, but it wouldn't be just for 100% basketball.
Okay.
But definitely we could put those two on there for sure.
Okay.
Bill Russell, Bill Chamberlain, Kareem, all those guys.
What coach have you stolen the most from? Because there's not a coach that doesn't steal a good amount.
I steal a lot of Brad Stevens stuff.
Okay.
I steal a lot of Brad Stevens out of timeouts. I steal a lot of Brad Stevens quick hitters. So yeah, he's probably the person who I've stolen a lot from.
Okay. Who's the one that got away? A recruit that you almost had that, I was talking to one of my best friends is a JUCO coach in upstate New York. And he said, I had this kid and then he played in the showcase tournament, and then caught like 4 D1 offers, and it was just like, all right, well.
I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
But yeah, because he's still playing right now, and I don't want to piss his coaches if people off, but I don't want to tell people I had him, and I don't want them people to say no, you didn't. But I actually had a verbal from him, and it just didn't work out. So yeah, I'll tell you offline.
MJ or LeBron?
MJ. I'm 38 years old, man. I don't think nobody. I think Michael Jordan invented tennis shoes. He's the best person to ever put on tennis shoes.
I'm 4-0 with that question so far, something like that. What book is a must read for every basketball coach?
Oh man, I have so many books. I think I would tell basketball coaches to read The Art of War. I would tell them to read 48 Laws of Power, because you got to take care of yourself first before you got to know who you are and get yourself together before you can start reading the books on the X's and the O's. So, Art of War, 48 Laws of Power, those 2 books, read them before you really say, I want to coach college basketball or things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Would you rather take a charge from Shaq or try to guard KD with the game on the line?
Where KD's shooting from? Is it full? I got to guard him full court, and how much time left?
Sideline out of bounds, 15 seconds.
Shit, KD gonna have me on the island then. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna try to take a charge from Shaq.
Oh no, I was 4-0 on that question before you asked that. Everyone was like, "Yo, that means like 400 pounds. I'm not having him laying on me, man."
Nah, I don't want my kid's watching, man. I don't want KD to do something dead. No, I don't want KD to do something to me that's gonna lead Sports Center, First Take, Colin Cowherd, Skip and Shannon. No. I'd rather just take the charge from Shaq and live to fight another day.
I feel
KD that. Gonna tear your face off.
Best basketball dynasty.
Lakers.
Which era are we talking?
The Jordan. I think the Jordan 6-0 Bulls had 2 breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a break, and that kind of messes it up. But that Lakers team that should have 4-peated was just dominating in the playoffs.
You talking with Kobe and Shaq?
Kobe and Shaq Lakers, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's a bummer how that played out. An underrated Twitter follow.
Underrated, the Iron Sheik.
Who?
Follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter.
How do you spell that?
The Iron Sheik, the wrestler, the Iron Sheik.
Oh, okay. Great podcast or YouTube series.
Say again.
Great podcast or YouTube series.
Great. I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, so most of my great podcasts is going to be wrestling podcasts. But YouTube series, I go down rabbit holes of prison YouTube series, like guys talking about their time in prison, as well as old mafia guys talking about the mafia. Those are my two YouTube recommend analytical things or algorithms. It'll be old mafia guys talking or prison docs. Okay.
There's a really old Sylvester Stallone movie that I feel like you'd appreciate it because it's like a mobster movie. It's called Oscar. I would definitely watch that. Oscar.
I'm gonna check it out and see if it's on the Fast Stick tonight.
It's like a comedy. I don't even know how to explain it. It's a comedy, but yeah, Sylvester Stallone, wrote and directed and was the star actor in it.
I'm all for good mafia movies.
There you go. What was the first time that you were in a room that you realized that not that you didn't know anything about basketball, but that your knowledge just wasn't, as elite as you thought it was?
It was a game.
Really? Okay.
The current women's coach at McNamara, Frank Oliver. We coached against each other when we both were at DC high school basketball.
Okay.
And Frank kicked my ass. I was on the running clock probably in the first half of the second quarter.
Wow.
And one person who people ask me what made me start really getting into the other side of coaching, which was scouting, film, and X, Y, and Z, losing basketball games the way I did to Frank Oliver. He is one of the reasons I'm the coach I am today. We're not friends. We're not boys. So it's no reason for me to plug him. But he really helped me grow as a basketball coach.
Okay. What coaches do you study?
I study Brad Stevens, of course. I said that already. Study a lot of Duke. I watch a lot of Duke practices.
Yeah.
As far as collegiate wise, I think Coach K does a lot of good things at practice. And I'm real big on Chris Beard and some of the things he does as well. I know that's a name that probably a lot of people won't use.
Yeah. I mean, I also hate it. I'm a rant here for a second. I cannot stand it when in the national championship a couple of years ago, it was Chris Beard versus Tony Bennett, and people were talking about how this is good basketball. I'm like, yo, two of the best defensive minds scheming against each other.
Yep.
Both have great offenses.
Everybody wants to see 95-90.
Man, forget that. I mean, if like that's the best type of game for me to see. Like if you guys are just getting up shots, it's a lot different than the chess game that was that game. And man, that was a phenomenal game. Lived up to its billing.
Yeah.
What is the hardest shot in basketball?
Oh man.
So for me, it's the fast break where you get past the ball and a defender's rotating over and you're in like the short corner, like just past the block. And you don't have an angle at the backboard. The passing angle is some shit.
Yeah, that's probably the extremely difficult shot. That might be. I was going to say the mid-range pull-up from the elbow.
Okay.
I see so many kids miss that shot consistently. But yeah, that one you just said probably is the one.
Okay. Two more quick hitters. What's a game show that you think you could win?
Wheel of Fortune. No brainer. No brainer.
You were quick with that one.
All
right.
Yeah. And then I'm waiting for my call now.
The last one is a basketball mind that you could pick his brain heavily for a couple hours on one specific thing. So, you could talk to Brad Stevens about ATOs, you could talk to Chris Beard about defense, or
John Calipari on recruiting.
Ooh.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. I like it. All right, man. So this is all I have for you. And I turn it over to my favorite.
So much. Thank you so much.
Hey man. So I have one more thing for you. So I always turn the tables and I ask my guests to ask me one question. So what do you got for me?
What's next for you?
Ooh, it's the second time I got this question. I am currently in conversations with two local high schools about being an assistant coach. And it would actually be, as far as the role that I have, I think it might be a little bit more of an upgrade, or a little bit higher up the totem pole than what I was doing at DeMatha. I mean, I was doing video at DeMatha and then assistant freshman coach. I think I might be a varsity assistant and then freshman coach at one of these spots. But we'll see. The live period events are something that's making their lives really busy. So I'm just kind of waiting it out for the time being. I do want to try to do a little bit more evaluating. I think my long-term goal is really to be in an NBA front office, and I really enjoy going to events and evaluating talent. And like, not just that, like kind of following up on it. Like last night I was at Summer League and I remember watching Justin Gilmore play. And I watched him play a couple games in PYBL. Really liked this game. He's playing for the enemy now. He's at Gonzaga. But just seeing, what I saw in his game that I thought would translate, then, the defense and scoring and transition, has translated. And then some other stuff on his game that's kind of popped up that I didn't see before. So I always find that interesting. And so I think I might be doing some sort of, I don't know that I'll be working for Prep Hoops or some scouting service. I might just be doing some stuff on my own. As far as I really like establishing stuff and kind of creating a track record to go back year by year and see how I did. I feel like that's the best way, for professional growth. So like, for example, this podcast, I have an NBA roundtable pod where I bring on a bunch of my friends and we discuss, the NBA draft or whatever. And so I had them do like my guys. So, you pick, one guy from the top 5, one guy from, late lottery, one guy for end of first round, second round, and then an undrafted guy that you think is going to hit. And then, in 2 or 3 years, we'll check that and see, how that pans out. So that analytical evaluation side of the game has always been interesting to me. So I think that that's one that I'll plug a little bit more into this year. If I have.
All right, man. Sounds great. I wish you nothing but success, man. You have my number. Anything you need conversation-wise, just definitely give me a call for sure.
Yes, sir. Let the people know where they can find you on social media and, your program so they can keep up to date.
At men's basketball PGCC, so at MBB PGCC is the team's Twitter page. My Twitter page is at Coach Butch, and that's Coach with a K.
Cool.
Follow me. I talk good basketball sometimes. Highly opinionated. Very highly opinionated, but I do talk, some good stuff.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. I'm sorry. I'm the king of one. But this is one more thing that I want to get a basketball, a playoff hot take from you. Either a prediction or, a player thing. I know you got.
Well, my finals prediction was wrong. I said Lakers and Sixers, so I was wrong there. The Phoenix Suns will win the NBA championship.
I like it, man. I mean, I had Utah and Philly, and both of those are not looking great right now either. So I disagree. Well, I agree with LeBron as far as I don't like the injuries, and all that stuff. But I think it's fun to have a wide open NBA playoffs. I think that's always really exciting to have the different fan bases into it, and not just Cavs Warriors for 4 straight years. that could just, I appreciate the time, brother. Best of luck this season. We'll keep in touch.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, brother.